sailed on Norwegian Cruise Line more than any other cruise line, and one of the ships that we sailed before the pandemic and the one that we loved the most on NCL was the NCL Escape.
So we were so excited to be able to come back and revisit the NCL Escape to see if it would live up to our fond memories. So I'm Jan.
And I'm Tracy, and this is our review of the 7-day Western Caribbean aboard the NCL Escape.
Now, we believe that cruising is a personal experience, and different people can have different perspectives even on the same cruise. So these are just our observations and thoughts on this one cruise.
Now, what we're going to be doing is looking at specific categories, and at the end, we're going to give you the top 3 things that we loved about this cruise and the 3 things that we thought that NCL could have done a little bit better.
And the categories we're going to be looking at are the embarkation, the ship, the cabin, the service, the food, and the ways in which we were able to have entertainment and relaxation.
And at the end, we'll tell you who we think that this cruise might best fit.
Now, so let's start talking about our embarkation. Now, normally we don't cover embarkation, but we really did have a great experience.
So we boarded the ship in Galveston on a really rainy day. It was so rainy that the streets were flooding. However, we did find our parking spot quickly, and our shuttle dropped us off right at the front entrance to the check-in area.
Now, because we've sailed on NCL so many times, we have status, we have platinum on their status, which actually provides us the opportunity to have priority embarkation. So from the time that we were dropped off by the shuttle bus at the curb to the time we were onto the ship, getting through security and everything, the total embarkation time was 28 minutes. Now, mind you, we were boarding a ship where it was over 100% capacity with actually nearly 5,000 passengers.
So it even gets better once we got on the ship. Now, the cruise right before us was a repositioning from Miami, so most of the rooms were empty before it even arrived in Galveston, and that allowed us to go directly to our room as soon as we boarded. That has never happened to us before, and that was one of the fastest embarkations we have ever had.
And just as we remembered once we got on the ship, we loved this ship, especially the waterfront, which is the feature we most love. This is the promenade deck that goes all the way around deck number 8. But what I love about it, there's so many places to sit and just relax or have a drink at a bar, or even many of the restaurants actually have seating out there. It's just a wonderful, relaxing place to be able to see the ocean going by.
And the inside of the ship is just as grand, and we'll start with that atrium area. They has a really big Jumbotron screen, and it really does make it the hub of the ship.
And I'm going to tell you another really great place we like it as long as we keep it among ourselves, and I'll tell you why in a moment, and that is the District Brew House. This is a small little place up forward, I think, that is on the port side of the ship. It has a really wide selection of craft beers on tap, and the space is comfortable with seating, with floor-to-ceiling windows along that side of the ship, which makes it just a wonderful place to relax and watch the sea, even in the daytime. And the reason why we have to keep it amongst ourselves is because I don't think anyone knows it's there. Because it's kind of tucked in back by these stairs, quite frankly, even on a sea day when the bars were open, it seemed like almost no one was in there. We never had a problem going in there. Very comfortable place. So if you're looking on this very busy ship for have a nice place to kind of relax, man, I'll tell you, the District Brew House is the place to go.
Unfortunately, the ship was sailing at over 100% capacity, and it gets really, really busy, especially on the sea days, and that's why places like the District Brew House was such a great find.
Now, another thing we noticed was how smoky the areas in and around the casino were. Now,
we really enjoyed most of the public areas on the Escape. However, when it came to private spaces like our room, we were a little bit underwhelmed. We selected a standard balcony on deck 14.
Now, there were some nice things about the room, however. There was plenty of closet space, and the bed was comfortable once we got a mattress topper that we got from our room steward. The room also has a nice sized bathroom with good sized shower, and there was a decent sized balcony.
And we did notice though that the decor was a little bit dated. It seems like they haven't done a refresh lately. The room had a lot of drab earth tone colors for the carpets and the curtains, and it just made the room feel kind of dark.
Now, the real issue with this room was its layout, which was a bit challenging as there was a very small walking space between the bed and the counter area and the bed bed in the closet area where even I had a problem getting between those spaces.
And another big head scratcher for us was there was no table in the room. So you did have a couch there, but no table. There was an ottoman that was available to you that you could use for the vanity area. And I guess you could probably, it was flat enough that you could put room service on there, but it just seemed like odd to not have a table in the room. And then if you went out to the balcony, there was a small table, but it was really a cocktail table. You wouldn't be able to do any alfresco dining out there.
And unfortunately, we didn't use the balcony as much as we wanted because we couldn't enjoy it at night because other guests, quite frankly, they were smoking weed outside their balcony every night. That actually affects me. I'm kind of allergic to it, so I couldn't use it. This was just really disappointing that you pay for the upgrade to have a balcony and you really couldn't use it when you wanted to.
Now, our room steward was fantastic, but we're still disappointed that NCL has cut back their room cleanings to only once a day. Boo.
Yeah. Now, the service on the rest of the ship was actually just as cheerful and pleasant as you were going to find on any cruise ship. They really do go out of your way. However, the drink service around the atrium was actually pretty slow. This is largely due to how busy that bar stayed throughout the day. You would see the bartenders actually working their tails off. They were just overwhelmed. But that was really the only place we really had a problem with service outside the restaurants.
And just as service was a little bit of a hit or a miss, although not bad, we found the food on the Escape to be pretty much the same way, hits and misses.
Now, while we had previously raved about the specialty restaurants in our last NCL cruise, our experience on the Escape really didn't deliver the same consistent excellence.
So, for example, Le Bistro was a hit for Jan, while my dish wasn't that inspired, and that really pains me because Le Bistro is my favorite specialty dining option on any NCL ship. And at Cagney's, I love my filet, but Jan's steak was a bit tough and it really didn't have a lot of flavor.
And if you saw a review of the Prima, you would know that I was not impressed at all with the Food Republic. So we're open-minded, so we decided to give the Food Republic on the Escape another try, and we were once again disappointed. Now, it wasn't quite as bad as it was on the Prima, but it certainly solidifies my stance that, quite frankly, do not waste your time eating on a Food Republic. It actually is the worst specialty restaurants I've ever had at sea.
Now, the biggest food surprise, however, on the plus side was the main dining room, the Manhattan room. This is the largest of your 3 main dining rooms. And in our previous 3 cruises we've taken since the pandemic, main dining room on NCL has been not good at all, and it's just been really disappointing. So the food in the Manhattan dining room was exceptional every night that we went there, and it reminded us of what NCL used to be like before the pandemic.
And not only that, the wait team we had was among the best we've had at sea, regardless of the category of the cruise line. So much so that whenever we would go back to the Manhattan room, we requested to be in the same area in the night, each night, just to be able to get Min, who was our waiter. He and his team was so attentive, proactive, personal, and it was quite frankly exactly what you want at any restaurant on a cruise line or not. And while the service in the specialty restaurants was good, our service in the Manhattan was even better.
So we were sailing at 100% capacity, and because of that, we made the decision to not eat in the buffet because every time we walked through there, it just seemed really busy. Although we did notice that the further you go back to the aft of the ship, that's when you started to see more seating options, and for whatever reasons, people don't want to go back that far, so it just seemed really busy at the choke points.
Now, the place that when we were on the ship at lunch we always went to was Oceania's. We absolutely love Oceania's on any NCL ship, and this certainly didn't disappoint. Tracey had sandwiches. I think you had a Reuben, and we really, quite frankly, thought the wings was better than we remembered on our past cruises on NCL. It seemed before the pandemic, the wings were always battered. Now they're not battered, so I really like our time in Oceania's.
Surprisingly, the aspect of the cruise that made the biggest impression on us was the area that we really don't pay that much attention to on most cruises, and that's the nightly entertainment.
Hands down on this cruise, we experienced the most entertaining production show we've ever watched, The Choir of Man. It's completely different from anything else we'd ever gone to, and it really makes us sad to hear that NCL is kind of moving away from this type of entertainment, which quite frankly we always thought that really set apart NCL from any of the other lines. It's just kind of disappointing, but we're so glad we had the opportunity to watch The Choir of Man.
And another favorite we enjoyed on the NCL Escape was the tribute band for Fleetwood Mac, and the show's called Rumors. And once again, it was a fantastic show. It's a really interesting concept, and it tells the story of the band behind the scenes as they worked through their last album, Rumors.
Now, beyond these shows and the bands that played throughout the ship at different times throughout the day, the real fun we had was actually in the atrium, playing trivia games and a number of interactive games, many of them involved using your phone, which is something I hadn't seen on other lines. Now, despite how busy the ship was, quite frankly, we never had a problem finding a place to sit in the atrium to be able to have fun. This really was kind of one of the things that really made this cruise the funnest of the year.
Now, we were on a Western Caribbean itinerary, and that means that our stops did not include the private island Great Stirrup Cay, which is in the Bahamas. That one we always enjoy. Instead, because this is a Western Caribbean cruise, we went to Harvest Cay, which is in Belize. And it's okay, but it is smaller. And unlike Great Stirrup Cay, the one thing that's kind of annoying is your drink package does not extend to the island. So you're paying out of pocket to get anything once you get off the ship.
And another disappointment we had was, quite frankly, the ship's pool as well as Spice H2O. Spice H2O is the adults only area. Quite frankly, they were just always busy. Spice H2O was just almost impossible to be able to find anywhere to sit down or lay down, and the pool was absolutely crazy. So quite frankly, there was no poolside experience for us on this cruise on the NCL Escape.
So this is our views on the ship, the room, the service, the food, and the entertainment.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the three things we thought we loved most about the NCL Escape, and there are three things we didn't like so much. We're going to start with those three things that we thought the NCL Escape could do a little bit better. And then number one is one which quite frankly just comes with being on a mass market line that's sailing at over 100%. Quite frankly there were places that were way too crowded, such as by the pools.
The quality of the food in the specialty dining restaurants was just inconsistent. It was, the specialty dining is supposed to be special, and when one person's meal is good and one person's meal is not as good, it kind of lessens the experience.
And the third thing that we really didn't like, and quite frankly we should have put in there as number one, quite frankly, was people smoking weed on the balcony. And it really, whether it's weed or not, the bottom line is smoking on your balcony. And quite frankly, that's been a practice, been outlawed for years, because not only is it an annoyance to other guests as it was for us, quite frankly, it's a safety issue which could start a fire at sea.
Which leaves us to the top three things that we loved about the NCL Escape, beginning with, we love the NCL Escape layout, we love the waterfront, we love the promenade area, and Deck 8 is just fantastic.
And quite frankly, number two is the Manhattan main dining room. It was this standout on this cruise. Just when we were pretty much writing off main dining room food on NCL, it was so great to come back to NCL and be able to see how NCL's food used to be. It just reminded us of the last time we were on the NCL Escape, and be able to see that it still can be continued.
And the third thing that we loved was the entertainment on this particular sailing. It was phenomenal. The Choir of Man and Rumors are must-sees, and I hope that NCL will reconsider their decision to keep them coming along.
So who do we think the NCL Escape is best for? Well, if you're wanting that quiet, relaxed cruise, this is probably not the right cruise for you, although there are ways that you can have the relaxation on the NCL Escape, especially if you're on a budget. But who we think this is best for is for those families with children. There are plenty of things to be able to keep kids entertained while still offering those adult-sized relaxation and fun for mom and dad. After all, quite frankly, the first time we sailed on the NCL Escape was when we were actually on with our own kids, and we see no reason why it still isn't a great option for families. After all, this actually was the most fun cruise we had during the entire year.
So that's our review of the NCL Escape. Now, if you ever wondered what to do while you're in port, why don't you watch this video?
And as always, keep on traveling.